We have to get to this point where we are so secure in who we are so secure in our own truth, we are so secure in our own confidence and in our own sense of value that other people's choices that don't line up with what the truth is not a reflection on what's going on with us. So one of the things I get asked quite a bit in my coaching calls is, how am I ever going to trust someone again after dealing with this kind of a relationship? And we're talking about manipulative or narcissistic or just toxic relationships, whatever term you want to use with them. And I want to make sure that I point out that I know exactly what that feeling feels like, because when I found out that my ex had been cheating on me for the last 5 months of our relationship, that was literally one of the first things that I said. How am I ever going to trust someone again? And here's the part about trust that's kind of hard for me to remember sometimes. We often think of trust as being something that the other person does, or something that the other person gives us, or they have, qualities and all this kind of stuff. And there's some truth to that. Like, yes, there are certain characteristics of people and history and patterns and like all that kind of stuff that lets us know if they're a trustworthy person or not. But at the end of the day, when it comes to trust is always a personal choice that we make. We make the choice to put our trust into another individual. And a lot of times when we look back on the fact that we were in these kind of relationships to begin with, we think that we aren't able to trust ourselves because we got ourselves into this kind of a position. So really the most important aspect of learning to trust someone else is we have to have faith that we can trust ourselves to make the right decision on who we put our trust in. And I know what you're thinking. Well, Trey, I can't do that either because look where I ended up. And I get that too. But here's the thing. It's not that we can't trust ourselves either. If we were really honest with ourselves and we started to think back on the relationship that we just got out of, it's not that we didn't miss certain things about them. It's not that we didn't miss these red flags. It's not that we didn't miss these patterns of behavior. Did more things kind of show up over time? Yes, but if we were really honest with ourselves, for the most part, not every situation, but most situations, we saw some things at the beginning. And we made certain choices to say, you know what? I know that that's not very good, but they've never had a healthy relationship before, so I'm just going to give them another shot. Or you know what? They were just drunk. Or you know what? They didn't mean it. Or we give some kind of excuse to the behavior, and we make a choice to put our trust back into this individual. So if anything, the lesson that we need to learn is to listen to ourselves and to listen to these patterns that we see and to acknowledge the red flags and not just ignore them. Because here's the hard truth. At the end of the day, people are going to do whatever they want to do. If someone wants to cheat on you, they're going to cheat on you. If someone wants to start pulling out of the relationship and making bad decisions behind closed doors, they're going to do that. Because my ex and I, we did all the things to build trust. We shared a location with each other. We had our passcodes to each other's phone. We had open access to each other's phone and all this stuff. My ex was still cheating on me for the last 5 months of our relationship. Did all of those things make it more challenging for him to cheat? I'm sure it did, but he still did it. And here's what I had to realize. Him cheating on me and him doing all of these things that he did behind my back, I could not internalize it as a reflection on my own worth. Because at the end of the day, those choices were because of what was going on in his brain. Those choices that he made were a reflection on his low self-esteem, on his low self-worth, on his tendency to self-sabotage. It had everything to do with him, and it didn't have anything to do with me. And that's the point that we have to get to when it comes to any kind of relationship, when it comes to friendships, when it comes to platonic relationships. We have to get to this point where we are so secure in who we are so secure in our own truth, we are so secure in our own confidence and in our own sense of value that other people's choices that don't line up with what the truth is is not a reflection on what's going on with us. It's a reflection on what's going on with them. If my fiance ever decided to make these same decisions that my ex did, that's a reflection on him. Where if he ever decided to do that, then that means at some point in time, you woke up and decided to not see what I bring to the table. You decided to wake up and not see my worth and not see my value. But you know what? I know my worth and I know my value. And if you choose to not see it, then that's on you. And that's it. So when it comes down to trusting, you have to be able to get to the point where you trust your own worth and your own value, and you just choose to honestly release the control of needing to like be in control of the situation and trying to control what your partner is doing, because at the end of the day, we cannot control it. And the more that we start to release control and release this like need to control things that are really out of our control, the more at peace that we can be in our current situation, and the more peace that we can be and being able to just live in the moment. Because again, people's choices are a reflection on them and what's going on in their brain and not with you. I hope that this was able to give a little bit of a different perspective when it comes to trusting other people and how to make that shift. And I really just encourage you guys to just do the work to build your own self-value and build your own worth to where you can look at yourself in the mirror and see all of the beautiful things that you bring to the table with any kind of relationship. And I promise the more that you do that and the more secure that you get into that, just like I said earlier, the more you're able to just be present in the moment and just be able to enjoy the harvest of everything that you've been sowing and everything that you've been working towards. Please comment your thoughts on this. Make sure you're subscribing to my channel to get all the exclusive videos that are just on this platform and not any others. And thank you for sharing your healing journey with me.